Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. You're watching Plum Bob Diaries with MJ, and we are back in my Memory Lane series. So my Memory Lane series is a series in which I take you guys down memory lane with me through an old past build that I made. So yeah, that brings us to Oasis Springs today. So if you've been watching my previous videos in the series, I've taken you through some of my old builds. They were all in Willow Creek, and I shared the lore and inspiration for some of them and the ideas behind the layout and the items that were inside. Today is definitely different. We're not doing a residential lot today. Today we are doing a commercial lot. That's why we're in this beautiful scenic strip of Oasis Springs. So why are we here today at a commercial lot? Well, simply because I was playing with Sunny Boulevard. Let me get out of tab mode. So if you guys remember Sunny Boulevard over here, he is, let me guys show you him. He is this sim right here. He's my landlord sim. And I just got done viewing another house with him, doing another recording. And I took him home, got him, showered for the next day and everything. And he's hungry. And I thought, why not take him out to a restaurant? And then the thought occurred, why not show you guys the restaurant builds that I have in my save file? So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to tour an old restaurant build of mine and another old, but not so old as this one, sort of restaurant. So anyway, that brings us to this location here. Let me show you guys the full exterior. All right, so let me explain what you're looking at, because you're probably looking at this going, okay, there's a lot going on. It's a little kooky up here. There's so many objects up here on the roof. What kind of restaurant is this? Okay, so remember I told you guys back in the day, in my building journey, I've come a long way, and I was someone very good at, interior floor plans, but I sucked at exteriors. And this is something from that era. Now, it's probably not that bad to some. Some people are like, what are you talking about? That's awesome. Okay, I have developed an eye to where I would not do anything that looks somewhat similar to this exterior ever. But, yeah, this, I want to say, was at least, from what I can remember, one of my very first stabs at restaurants. Well, Dine Out is very old. It came out years ago, so it's probably not the very first restaurant I made, but this is the oldest one I have in my save file, period. So this is actually called the Oasis 50s Diner. Now, this, surprisingly, is still on my gallery, and it's cringe. It's very cringe. Because I was just uploading everything that I had. It may be obsolete. It may not stay on there. But it is currently on there if you guys want to grab it. If you so happen to like this. But I thought I'd share it because, we all have to start somewhere and come from some stumping ground. So yeah, I just wanted to share my journey with this, and that everything is not so pretty and petite. Some things, when you start off, is pretty ugly and pretty much of an eyesore. So anyway, this is my Oasis 50s diner. I wanted to do a 1950s diner because Oasis Springs is all mid-century, and well, you don't see many mid-century homes over here in this commercial area, but out in the other neighborhoods, you will see a bunch of mid-century builds just by default, and I've been playing on that aesthetic with Oasis Springs. So if you want it, it is on my gallery, Oasis 50s Diner. It's a 30 by 20 lot, and for those of you who need to be refreshed or are new to my channel, I have a gallery ID, Marsha Tac 12. And it has hundreds of builds on here. Literally hundreds of builds of everything you could think of, from houses, apartments, community lots, parks, pools, performance centers, everything. So yeah, if you are interested, please help yourself. I love when people download my builds and play in them and whatnot. But yeah, so let's take a look into this build. So I'm gonna go back in live mode so I won't have the UI cluttered. And yeah, we just got here. That's why all these sims are spawned out on the lot. So first of all, let's talk about this exterior. I was totally bad at roofs, which is why I have all these objects up here. I wanted it to be a restaurant and really say restaurant, but I was not great at figuring out how do I achieve that in an exterior form. So as you can see, these are actually items sized up. So this is a freaking condiment basket. All the little baskets that are on the dining tables, like that's just this blown up. This right here is just a plate from Parenthood that I just sized up as well. And then all I did right here, I took a giant half wall, painted it yellow, and then put a sign from Dine Out on it. So that's how I achieved that. The cool thing that I really like about this is this little sign right here. Now this comes in the base game by default. It was just something that they had as an extra statue item in the game. Now interestingly, what's so interesting is that there are no restaurants in the base game. So this marquee, you never actually see it used or function, but they have it in our catalog. So that's interesting. Anyway, exterior wise, this lot in particular, I think by default there's a museum here, and it's just attached to this parking lot, which it's for the vibes. I love this, the fact that this is right here, so it makes it feel believable. Again, I wasn't good at exterior, so as you can see, there's a lot of concrete over here. Didn't know, I got a mixture of materials, wood mixed with this stone mixed with this sidewalk slab. It's a lot going on. And then I have two entryway doors. I think I wanted a corner door, and with the layout that I had, for some reason I wanted to use these doors that came with Get to Work. And I think it's because it makes a bell sound, like in the old diners, if you, not even old diners, but like old style doors, if you open the door, it's attached to like a ring bell. I just wanted that vibe, so that's why I went with this. But it doesn't really make for a good entrance, but nevertheless, at the time, it sufficed for what I wanted to achieve. Now if we actually go through the doors, let me press play and have Sunny come on in here. Actually, I'm gonna have him, it's just him, he doesn't need a booth. I'm gonna have him actually, request this table. So this diner, you have this corner entrance here, and then I made this setup, this like wraparound booth, because that's what I seen in a lot of movies, because I had never been in a 1950s diner, but I know that they exist, and they have this giant bar that is part of their order checkout system. So yeah, I tried to replicate that idea. I know that with the bowling pack, we had this giant jukebox, and I thought 1950s and jukebox, that works so well together. So yeah, that's why that's there. The layout overall includes like this checkerboard and like these booths against the windows. We got some single tables over here in case you want to go on a date, some overhead lighting, and then more booths over on this side. We have over here, of course, the main counter, and then behind the counter, which is the kitchen. I don't know why people are going in the staff area, but again, this was made years ago, well before, this probably was like 6 years ago, honestly. This was well before businesses and hobbies, well before the for rent system. You can't tell what employees to do, like in the Dine Out system. I have no idea why all of those patrons were in the kitchen. Anyway, I have the restrooms off to the back right here, because mind you, like I said, my interiors were great. I made it family friendly. I put little toddler pots, even though you cannot bring your toddlers to a Dine Out restaurant. I know at the time, again, this was very old, like at the time that I made it, toddlers exist, but at the time that Dine Out came out, toddlers did not exist. So that's the thing. But yeah, as you can see overall, this looks great. There's even a little critic over there. He was taking notes. But yeah, I kind of miss playing with the Dine Out pack. I may have to play. Let's get him some food. Other thing that I like is I like putting objects on the menu that kind of fit the vibe. So appetizers, but like everything here is like, you know, just fast food and like quick dinners. Well, no, you get steak and salmon here. But anyway, this is my interpretation of what you'd find here in this sort of place. You know what? What would I like him to have? He's sort of bougie. He's a bougie sim. I'll get him some salmon. Oh, but this looks good too. Now I know I didn't put this on the menu, so maybe I did like a pre-diner menu, possibly, and it's just been updated over time with the new expansion packs that I have installed in my game. But yeah, so cool. We're gonna get that for Mr. Sunny over here. So yeah, this is like overall the establishment, and I like it. But after a while of being here, I started notice, you know, and that's a good thing. As I play test and as I actually like, I am a gamer. I am in this game. You know, I see things, I notice things, and I know what to improve and what could be better. So this was sitting in my save probably for 2 years, 3 years before I thought to myself, like, I kind of want to redo this. Another thing to note, if you guys ever want to build a diner and want to use these booths, there's a catch to using these booths. So as you can see, this is not like how you typically see a real life booth. So as you can see, I sort of made these stalls over here, and there's like, you know, it's sectioned off. You can have 2 people here, 2 people here, 2 people here. If you were to go to a real life diner, this is what you'd see, right? 2 booths stacked right next to each other, table in between them. Now, that's realistic. Does that work in The Sims? No, it does not. Because if you were to put 2 booths like this in The Sims, still only 2 people could sit there. And you're probably thinking to yourself, what are you talking about? What do you mean only 2 people can sit here? It's 2 booths. You should be able to fit 4. No. Let me tell you why. Because look at the blueprint and how the Sims work. The Sims game, Sims 4, works according to blueprints. And this blueprint overlaps that blueprint. So the Sims will only be able to scoot on these ends right here. And because I have these against a window, if you block the access point with a window, you know, even though that's realistic, it's not functioning in The Sims. So if you ever wonder why your Sims can't get to the table or something like that, if you have the booth by a window, it won't work. I know that's counterintuitive because realistically, you know, we're going to do that. That's what we see all the time. But in game, it won't function. And a lot of people say, oh, Dine Out is broken. It doesn't work. I'm never seated anywhere. No, it's because of how, you know, the Sims team was able to create these booths. Because they slide in on the sides, if you cover up a side, it just doesn't get used. So that's how it works. And so if you're ever wondering, oh, why can't I get this to work? That's why. So as you can see in this version, because I knew that would happen, I don't have booths. I don't have 2 booths to a table. I have 1 booth to a table. So one Sim can sit on that side and one Sim can sit on this side. And plus I was thinking of date nights. Now here's another issue I noticed with that. Sims, if you are familiar with Dine Out and actually pay attention to the gameplay of what's happening, whether you are a customer or patron just coming to just, you know, have something to eat, or if you actually are working in the actual restaurant, you will notice that Sims come in 2s and groups of 3s. So I have plenty of seating in here for those that come as a duo, a group of 2. If someone were to come in here as a group of 3, you know what would happen? 2 people would sit here, and then their +1 would have nowhere to sit. They'd go off into, stand around because they can't go to a table that's not claimed because their party claimed this table, but only 2 can sit there. So if you have a mom and a dad and a little kid that come into your diner, and they book this table, mom and dad can sit, but the kid can't sit. So what is the kid sim gonna do? He's gonna interact with any of these other activities because he can't sit down, and he can't eat because he's not sitting at the table. So if you didn't know, now you know. So yeah, I'm someone that has noticed these things. And I have since gone to, perfect them and improve them. So this was my take on my Oasis 50s diner. Now, I've been waiting for food, but it's taken a while, and I'm going to cancel this. And it's okay. He's very sad right now. Oh, from Purpose of Life. I'm going to have him give up the table because it's all right. You know why it's all right? Because, like I said, I've reapproached this design, and you guys are going to see the new and improved 1950s diner. So let's go on to the map. Let's go to travel. And I'm very proud and excited to show you guys this. Now, this Home of the Burger, when did I make this? I want to say, was it 2024? I think I made it 2024. So over here is basically my second attempt at this years later. So let me see I'll let you guys see what years of improvement in building in The Sims has done for me in regards to at least, restaurants and community lots. So I'm going to load up here. You will be stunned at the difference. Let me tell you now, get excited because it's worth it. Don't you guys get excited watching build tours? I love that. Isn't she lovely? Isn't she beautiful, as Stevie Wonder would say? All right, so let me take my time when I say this. Instantly, even just dropping into the lot, so much of a better appeal. All right, so let's take a look at the exterior. Guys, welcome to Home of the Burger. This is the new and improved 1950s diner that better approaches the aesthetic that I wanted to go for. So if you are interested in this one, I'm going to show you around, but let me go ahead and show you guys the name and the lot size and all of this. So I made this specifically for this lot. This is quite a large lot. This is where Johnny Test, his name is Johnny Test. That's a cartoon show. Johnny Zest used to live on this lot. This is a 40 by 30 lot. It is a restaurant, and it is called Home of the Burger. Again, you can find this on my gallery under Marsha Tack 12 if you are interested. Trust me, you will be. You need a diner like this. If you don't get mine, get somebody else's because there are so many beautiful, wonderful builders out there. But of course, I want you guys to check out my build, and this is so cool. Again, I've played here, so I know what it's like. So let's get into it. This is Home of the Burger, and I'm gonna go back in live mode. Immediately, what I've done differently is, one, this is not off in like a commercial district area, because as you can see, it's a bunch of residential homes over here. We got some commercial lots off in the shells, which doesn't make this too out of place, but we're in the desert, and I wanted to play with that. I've seen other gameplay. Again, I'm a gamer. I play more than The Sims. I love The Sims, so I play The Sims more than anything. But I've seen, movies and other games and other media in which there's a diner off in the middle of nowhere and something creepy happens or anything. So anyway, like I said, I know Oasis Springs is like known for this like mid-century feel. This diner is more so of a, what do you call it, streamlined deco. So if you ever seen like a Portillo's, that kind of vibe, this is that energy basically. And like I said, I made it to match the desert, so you'll see the dirt road here. There's more gravel for cars to come. I made my own parking lot. We used the little line separators that came with the Get to Work, I believe. We just look at the difference, the attention to detail. This little pay for parking meter was from City Living. Mailbox from Debug. We got little benches out here, which since Love Struck, that's been an issue because that's all couples want to do. Not a problem if you're not tired of it, but yeah, this is beautiful. And then again, I just wanted to tie in with the Oasis Springs desert sort of allure. So when I think of the game, I don't think of Oasis Springs as just a world in and of itself, because there's an expansion to it. Even with Get to Work, we got an expanded like science career. So there's this idea in The Sims and like backlore with The Sims that in the desert strange things happen. Even in Strangerville, there's it's a desert sort of world, and we come across the unnatural, the supernatural, or just strange things. So this is a regular build. If you love regular builds, realistic builds, this works just fine. If you want to have a little backstory, there is a little back area. Again, this is totally normal. This is slightly not, if you, again, I'm a gamer. If you want to play it up and, be, if you're an alien, if you're one of those conspiracy theorists, if you're part of the CIA, if you're a scientist, I make my lots multifunctional for all different players and gamers. But I, for one, is someone who loves storytelling and lore. There's nothing too crazy here, but I just wanted to imply and suggest that with what's in this shed over here. And I'll show you guys to come. Right now, it looks like an employee, like, locked shed or anything. So it passes. But, that'll be our little secret until I show you guys at the end. All right, so let's actually get into the build here. So other than this cute little like drive up parking lot, the entryway, which again, if you've been to Portillo's, then you know what I'm talking about. It's like, Art Deco doors. And another thing, I made this before we had the bistro pack, right? So these are the Dine Out doors. The doors that I wanted are the exact doors that came with the bistro, cozy bistro. So if I go to doors, right? And this is how you know something is vintage with the style. So I'm gonna go here, go to kids, go all the way to cozy bistro. This is exactly what I was going for. And I think it comes in white. Look, comes in white and gold. That would have been perfect here. But yeah, if you guys know what I'm talking about, then you know. You see all that extra detail on the door? I know it's probably hard to see because it's in red, but the vintage, right? That's the door I would have loved at the time that I made this, but that was not out yet. But yeah, so cool. So anyway, we got the entryway. We have a proper entryway this time around. We got, marketing items, signage. So it's giving those real vibes. And here we have an entryway, come in and, you see menu items around. There's even a little sofa seat right here in case you need to wait in line, or maybe you're a teenager, you came here to hang with your friends and then you got to sit and wait to be picked up from mom and dad. Now, I continued with the just sort of like date seating. So if there's only two couples, they have somewhere to sit and you just only want that intimate type of seating, you have these and these dividers right here. So love that. And what's cool is these little tables. So these little tables are tables that came with Eco Lifestyle. If you don't know, Eco Lifestyle comes with vintage furniture if you dumpster dive for them. Now, I didn't need to dumpster dive for these because I know how to get to debug and how to like find these unlocked items. Find these locked items. They're locked by gameplay, but I was able to find them and put them here, and they're vintage tables, so I thought they would fit well here, and they do. As soon as you come through, you are greeted with like the host station and this giant menu. So this menu, if I'm right, did it come with Discover Unit? Where did this come with? I think it's still Dine Out. Catch of the Day boards. Let's see. What did this come with? It came with Dine Out. So now I'm using more, Dine Out features. Love that. I even dressed up the staff members so that they could match that like 1950s, what's the name of the girls that wear the little skirts like this? You guys know what I'm talking about. If you've seen TV shows, then you know what I'm talking about. And then we got the little cleanup stations over here for the waitresses. There's another menu. It's believable. We continued the idea of having like the wraparound bar. See how this looks so much more realistic? I love that. And then another thing with this is that the employee section is blocked off. There's no reason for patrons or customers to go back there. Now, I did notice something with this build. Like there's a back door in which, for believability, if the workers wanted to take a break, if you're a manager and you actually work here, you could come out here. Not that they would smoke or whatever, because there's no smoking in the game, but just for believability, just as what I put here, just a realistic garbage area and chairs for staff to take a break. Now, I do notice that some Sims will go out there and go through the door. That I can't stand that they do that. Didn't know that they would do that when I made this, of course. But now I know in the future, if I were to even attempt this again, even though I love it, I would know to just separate the back entrance from the staff area. But anyway, this is cool. Check this out. We have 2 stations, because you can have up to 2 stations, or is it 3 in a restaurant? I can't remember, but I put 2 here because it just made sense to me that you will want to level up and have 2, and it looks realistic because a lot of the diners that you see, or if you've traveled to them or if you've seen them in videos and whatnot, they have this little cutout on the wall where they can serve trays, and then the waiters, they have room to where they can get to this, and it makes sense. Now also, if you didn't know, if you build your own restaurants, the bars are functional. So if you put a literal bar in the restaurant, by default, if you're not owning it, by default, if you come to it just as a patron, as a customer, there will be a bartender here, and you can get drinks if that's all you want. If you don't want food and you just want to come for the bar, you can do that. That's what, this was made for. So again, with my knowledge of gameplay, with my knowledge of the Sims, with my knowledge of how things work and how they function, I have made this build with gameplay and storytelling in mind so that you could get the best of all worlds. And again, I make for myself first because literally I had this in mind and I wanted to go for it. But anyway, let me tell you about what's different here than at the last location that you saw. So at this location, as you can see, I have the booths back to back, as they should be, based off of, real life and realism. So for the sake of realism, I really wanted to pull this off. Now, I know usually in real life, these will be against a window or wall. But just like I told you guys before, if you have something blocking the table, or if you put this booth against the wall, that makes this side no longer functional and no one can use it. But because I made like a slight walkway here, and I didn't make it too big because I didn't want it to seem off. I did want that classic window view next to a booth sort of vibe. This is just how I pulled it off. So we made a narrow pathway, and Sims do take this pathway to get around. Now, it functions. It functions as it should be. You can have 4 people to a booth as it should be, and it looks right. So, again, guys, take down that tip. If you've downloaded a restaurant and you want to make it work, this is what you do. You have to move it from away from the wall. If you are a builder and you want to make a functional restaurant and you want to use these booths, take note. Do not put your booths against any object. All right, but yeah, this is great because, like I said, Sims come in They come in twos and threes. So if you have a family, they can now sit at an entire booth. And I didn't overcrowd it either. So again, if you notice with my builds that I make, I know how many sims come to a lot. I know like you could probably get like 25 sims max to a lot. And that's not including the sims, oh, actually, it is. It is including the Sims that are out in the distance jogging or have nothing to do with the lot. So a lot of Sims places be pretty much empty unless you are at a like special lot type that calls all Sims there. Like I believe with the new getaway lot and like with the for rent system, like certain Sims will do certain things because of that specific lot trait. But with the older style lot traits, a lot of things are more, it's not as occupied. So to make things feel more lively and have more Sims feel like there's more Sims in here, I put just enough to give the ambiance and for the vibe. So again, there's enough. There's plenty here. You're not going to run out of room. So if you want to come here with a group of 4, you have these options with your family and whatnot. If you want to come here with a date, you have these seats over here. Now, I don't see not too many people come out on a date, but anyway, you can still sit at the booths if you're on a date if you want to. But you're not going to run out of space here. If you're one of those storytellers, who want the whole group here. So let's say you're either want to throw out a birthday party, or like you got a promotion at work, you're hanging out with the guys or whatnot, or maybe you're just having a girls' night or whatever, you just want to just kick it. Sometimes you want to bring your group of 8. Now, I never see a group of 8 come through a diner door or any restaurant build ever in the history of Dine Out. It's just not going to happen. But I usually put at least one table that fits 8 in each save, because if it ever happens, it will be the player that makes it happen. So there will be a specific table dedicated for that player. But yeah, and it matches the vibe and everything. So this is the table that is for a party of 8 should you need it. And again, we kept the retro jukebox. Love that. I love that we have this in the game. Whoever thought to like make this is so cool. And then I have bathrooms off to the side. So we got our toilets, because you can never have too many toilets. You gotta go. There should always be a place to use the restroom. And I love how it's realistic and we separated it off from the dining space. So yeah, that is our build, our beautiful, lovely build. I love the look at it and we even got better roofing this time. Like if you look at the outside, this looks so believable. We used the realistic like roof tiles at the top. I did like a funky like curved roof. We used our signage to make it look like we actually have like marketing materials that are consistent. So much better. And another thing here is that like I made the restaurant realistic, because initially all you need like to run Dine Out is just this. You need just these 3 items. You need tables. Besides the tables, for the staff to use, all you need is like this cooking station, this hostess booth, and then the this little dish rack. All of this actual kitchen set you do not need. Now the good thing is, patrons don't come over here and go in the fridge. They don't come over here and work on the stove. But if you wanted to, for storytelling, you could come back here. Let's say you own it, or you're helping out somebody who owns it, or you want to pretend that your sim works here and this is their day-to-day job. You could come back here and you can make whatever you want, put it up here on the counter, and tell your story. So yeah, I think of these things because I love storytelling. And of course we got the main menu in the back, things to wash your hands, to be cleansy, just stuff you'd see in a literal kitchen, like a utility kitchen or commercial kitchen. That's the word I'm looking for, commercial kitchen. Now out in the back, like I said I'd show you guys this. Besides our realistic break area with the trash cans and the trash bags, we have this little area. So we have basically another parking space, probably for like staff parking. And then I know you guys see this little van over here. This little van is what I like to call my suspicious vans. I add this in builds in which I want to add a little mystery or whatnot. But like I said, this could pass as just a shed for where the employees store extra stuff. But what's really back here, besides the extra stuff employees store, is this little computer. And if you guys have Strangerville, then you know what this is. This is the listening device that comes with Strangerville, and it's one of my favorite objects. I wish we had more interactions like this because it's pretty fun to play with. So if you know, this allows you to get a listening bug device planted on Sims and be able to listen to their conversation and bribe them if you want to. So I thought, we're out here in the desert. We know we have the Bella Goth lore with her being abducted. We have aliens that have come with the scientist career and get to work. We also have the Strangerville mystery. So I figured if you are, role playing and you're storytelling, and you are playing in the deserts, you're most likely going to go to all these different desert worlds if that's part of your LP or Let's Play. Look, I build for other storytellers too. So from storyteller to storyteller, look, I'm looking out for you guys. I'm looking out for myself and I'm looking out for you guys. But yeah, I just wanted to say, like, most likely you're going to be playing in all the desert worlds if your LP is in one desert world. At least that's how I think. So if you're having an LP in Strangerville, Chestnut Ridge, Oasis Springs, either one of them, like, most likely all of those are accessible to you. But yeah, or if you just have a mischievous sim that just wants to be nosy, like let's say the boss that owns this place is just a total, pain in the butt, who bribes you all the time, you could play that up. But it's whatever you want to go with. If you don't like this idea, again, you could totally take this out. It's just one object. You still have all this other stuff in here. If maybe you wanted to just have a little private area for the boss to have, a computer, or maybe you want to live on a lot, because I know some people who own a restaurant, they want to live, turn this into a little container home, a little hut or whatever, and you never have to leave. You can put a little bed here, a little what do you call it, the little bed that just folds out. You could do that. But yeah, I just thought that would be fun for gameplay, and so that's what I did. And so that has been our tour of this place. I think it's wonderful. I think it's really cool. Again, let me show you guys the layout one more time, because I'm not gatekeeping at all. If you want to do this layout, you can, because I love being inspired by other builders, so I don't mind if other builders are inspired by me. Like, this is just something that I do because I love it and I think it's fun, and I love that we have a community of other simmers who are into the same things that I'm into. So yeah, love that. So that's the layout. Get another look at the exterior at this beauty. So yeah, this is my build called Home of the Burger. And again, if you want to grab this off the gallery, you guys can find this under the name Home of the Burger. It is literally a 40 by 30 lot. It is made specifically with this, with this terrain in mind and this desert world. But you could plop it anywhere and see where you like it, See hey, you could delete the terrain paint if you want and put this in a more commercial district with concrete if you want. You're able to do that. But again, you can find this on my gallery at Mars Attack 12. So yeah, it's been a pleasure showing this off to you guys. Thank you guys for watching and for coming down memory lane with me. I feel so good when I get to talk about all this cool stuff that I'm into when it comes to The Sims, and sharing my memories and this journey of building that I've gone through. So yeah, if you're interested in any other builds in the series, go ahead and check out my playlist, MJ's Memory Lane, where you'll find other builds of mine. And yeah, this was so fun, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.